Good afternoon. Very excited to be here. Very excited to follow up on the panel we just heard because I think one of one of the next steps we're going to see is an established mechanism for connecting petition creators with all the entities and agencies and organizations that are influenced by their work. And I would argue that we already have that established mechanism, and it's change.org. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that and the petitions that we see on change.org that are great stories that are making a real difference in the world. Change.org is the world's largest online petition platform. Our mission is to empower people everywhere to create the change they want to see. And at this point, 30 million people in over 150 different countries have come to our site to take action in the causes that they care about. And this is a great example of individuals standing up to take a voice in the issues that are happening in a way that wasn't necessarily possible before. So today, since we see so many great petitions on our site, I'm going to share with you some stories about how the petition can be used to tell effective stories online that make a real difference. Stories like Molly Catchpole. Molly was a recent college graduate when she heard that, recent college graduate and part-time nanny who was really struggling to make her ends meet and pay for her college tuition when she heard that the Bank of America, one of the largest financial institutions in the world, would be levying an additional $5 debit card fee on her account and the account of many others for no additional services. So she started a petition on change.org, which garnered a ton of attention. The media was enamored with Molly and the way she was taking on a huge financial institution, and the petition won. Bank of America backed down. This is the story, one of my favorite stories, of a 5th grade class of Ted Wells, who loved the Lorax by Dr. Seuss so much that when they heard the Universal Pictures movie website wouldn't include environmental education as part of the website, they started a petition asking Universal Pictures to make environmental education part of that website. It was important to them. That was what they thought the Lorax was, and they stood up and spoke out, and Universal Pictures complied. Stories like Zach Walls, an Eagle Scout and son of lesbian parents who was, in this shot, is delivering hundreds of thousands of signatures to the national headquarters for the Boy Scouts of America. This is actually a story within a story that we're going to go back to later on in the presentation, but really wonderful narrative that the media wanted to tell as part of this petition. And stories like Trayvon Martin, a 17-year-old teenager who was shot and killed in Florida and whose murderer was never charged for weeks after the incident, until Trayvon's parents started a petition on change.org asking that there be an investigation into what happened when their son didn't show up one night on his walk from home. And this petition garnered, makes me emotional to talk about it because it garnered such incredible national media coverage. I'm sure many of you remember it and heard about it. It forced the local police department to open up an investigation and press charges against George Zimmerman. So change.org, you can see, empowers individuals, but we also empower organizations to build their movements using innovative tools to find new supporters and cultivate them into donors and advocates and future leaders for their movements. And we do that through a pretty interesting model. We're a corporation, a B Corp, that's a social benefit corporation, and we're maximizing impact over profit. And to generate the revenue for that impact, we connect individuals that come to our site from all over the world. We know what they care about, we know where they live, and we connect them with the organizations that need those supporters for their work. The organizations like the One Project that you'll hear later on today. They're one of our clients. They use change.org to cultivate new donors and supporters to make sure that One Project has the revenue, has the fan base, or user base, excuse me, to be effective in their work. That's what we do at change.org. We empower individuals, we empower organizations, and we do that through the online petition, but we didn't invent the online petition. We didn't invent the petition. It's been around for a long time. It's one of the oldest advocacy tools in the book. It's one of the core ways that organizations and community groups have been using to galvanize support for their issues for decades. In the past, though, what was one signature was just that one signature. But now, with the online petition and the digital world and cellular technology and the wonderful age of convenience and online connection that we live in, what was once one signature has now become 10 or 100 or 1,000. And while we didn't invent the petition, Change.org is building the best petition tool on the web, iterating as fast as we can as a startup to empower those individuals and organizations to be more effective in their work. And right now, online petitions are a really powerful way to tell stories, to create change. Organizations are using them, and individuals are using them to get attention for their issues in a way that hasn't been possible before. Turns out that journalists love to tell stories about online petitions. If you look at a lot of the cause stories that are out there, there's always a Facebook page component or what's happening on Twitter, and journalists, more than one top-tier journalist has told us they come to Change.org to see what people are talking about, see what the issues people care about are, and use that in their stories. We'll see a bit more about that in a minute. So back to the Boy Scouts of America story. The Boy Scouts of America has been had an anti-gay policy for decades, and it's been something that people have been trying to get the Boy Scouts to change for a long, long time. I'm an Eagle Scout. I remember the issue when I was a Scout. Many of the leaders in my troop have disavowed association with the Boy Scouts because they don't want to be involved with an organization that has discriminatory membership policies. So the Boy Scouts have been recalcitrant. They have, even though the case came in front of the Supreme Court, they just are not talking about it publicly. That is until this woman, Jennifer Terrell, the mother of a 7-year-old Cub Scout, of whom she was the den leader, was fired for being gay. Fired from her troop. The National Boy Scout organization said that she's not a fit den leader for her son's troop. And she came to Change.org to start a petition, gathered about 300,000 signatures, and reignited the discussion around this issue of discrimination on the part of the Boy Scouts by telling the story of an individual who was affected in a way that wasn't really focused on in the past, and ignited a real media coverage and a wave of petitions that we're still seeing on Change.org. Jennifer got an incredible showing of support on this petition, but it wasn't effective. I mean, you'll see that there's still active. There's no victory label here. So she changed her tactics and decided to go after the corporate sponsors of the Boy Scouts of America. She went after at&t, and you can see that this is a victory. This was successful. at&t, as a corporate sponsor of the Boy Scouts of America, decided that they didn't want to be associated with discrimination, and so they pulled their funding from the Boy Scouts until there was a change in that policy. As the media coverage grew on and the attention was growing around this issue, Zach Walz comes into the picture. You might remember him. He spoke to the Illinois Judiciary Committee about a proposed ban, on an amendment that would ban gay marriage in Illinois, and he became a viral sensation on YouTube because of his speech about why that issue wasn't good for him as the son of two lesbian mothers. Really upstanding individual, Eagle Scout himself, that decided he wanted to be involved and used Change.org to do it. He also started to target corporate sponsors. Intel backed down from funding the Boy Scouts of America. And others continue to be involved. This is a story that popped up about Ryan Andreessen, of Eagle Scout. Well, an Eagle Scout that went through all the same steps that every other Eagle Scout did, except he wasn't awarded his badge because he's gay. And so his local troop and local council wanted to give him his badge, but National said, we're not going to do it. So his mother started a petition that said, don't let your anti-gay policy deny my son his Eagle Award. Really incredible personal narrative that captured the imagination of maybe some of you in the audience, and certainly a lot of press and journalists that wanted to tell the story in a new and unique way, which led to Ryan visiting Ellen DeGeneres on her TV show. This is her presenting a $20,000 check to Ryan for his future college, and incredible issue awareness generated through these petitions. Petitions don't have to win or be victorious to be successful. They can help keep issues in the news and make progress just by letting all of you know what's happening and what we should be thinking about or what you might want to be involved in. I'm getting towards the end of my time here, so I'm just going to keep the story rolling. National Geographic was targeted. UPS was targeted. Verizon was targeted. And so this whole suite of campaigns and petitions on Change.org, all centering around these individual petition creator narratives. At one point, the Boy Scouts said that they were going to stop their policy. In January, they said that they were going to let the local councils decide whether or not they would let gay scouts and leaders. Unfortunately, they've since rescinded that, so it goes on. Just recently, Train and Carly Rae Jepsen said that they are not going to perform at the National Scout Jamboree until the Boy Scouts change their policy. So that's because of a change.org petition. So I leave you with the thought that petitions are important, but they have to make an impact in the real world. And this is a petition delivery at the White House by a bunch of environmental activists asking to stop the Keystone XL pipeline. And what will you change? Change.org is available for you to check out, start a petition, but things you care about. And I'm wrapping up. Thank you.
Thank you so much.